They will try to measure your strengths by the volume of your voice. They will mistake your silence for weakness, your stillness for indecision. But the river does not roar while it carves through stone, and the oak tree does not tremble when the wind questions its roots. This is the paradox of true power. It does not scream. It does not beg. It does not explain itself to the noise. The world has become addicted to noise, people shouting over each other to be seen, opinions thrown like stones in a crowd, distractions dressed up as purpose. In this madness, the quiet ones are forgotten. The thinkers, the builders, the disciplined, the ones who speak with results instead of declarations. But what they forget is this: the seed says nothing before it splits the earth. The dawn doesn't announce itself. And success, real success, is born in silence. Not the silence of apathy, not the silence of fear, but the silence of preparation, of patience, of persistence. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Character is like a tree, and reputation like its shadow." The world is chasing shadows, but the tree is built in silence. When Lincoln was ridiculed, underestimated, even despised, he said little and did much. He understood what too many forget. Words may fool the crowd, but actions speak to eternity. You must decide what game you are playing, the game of attention or the game of legacy, because the two are not the same. A man once asked Thomas Edison how he endured 10,000 failures before the light bulb. Edison looked at him and said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He didn't shout it. He lived it. Success does not arrive with applause. It arrives in quiet moments. At 5 a.m. when the world is asleep, and you are not. When you're reading instead of scrolling. Working instead of whining. Reflecting instead of reacting. This is the silence that molds kings and queens, not clowns. This is where vision is born, not from the noise of the crowd, but the whispers of the soul. The world will try to drown your clarity with chaos. That is its way. It will seduce you with likes, distract you with trends, and tempt you to chase what you can have instead of what you were meant to become. But greatness is not found in the places the crowd gathers. It is forged in solitude. You don't plant a vision in the open sun. You bury it. You water it. You protect it from shallow minds. Because there is a sacred power in silence. Do not mistake noise for movement. Do not mistake motion for direction. Do not mistake fame for greatness. The loudest are not the wisest. The busiest are not the most focused. And the richest in dollars are not always rich in depth. You must learn to see beyond the surface, to hear beyond the sound. Because everything you seek, wealth, purpose, discipline, power, it begins inside. And everything that begins inside begins in silence. That silence becomes the voice of your belief. And belief is not born in easy moments. It is not born when everything is working. It is born when you are alone, doubting, drained, and you still choose to rise. Think of Carnegie, the steel magnate. He built empires from nothing, not because he spoke louder, but because he listened longer. He listened to men wiser than him. He listened to his own convictions when the world was uncertain. And in that silence, he heard opportunity knocking when others only heard fear. That's the power most overlook. Silence reveals what noise hides. Your fear, your gift, your fire, all of it sits quietly within you, waiting for you to shut out the world and hear yourself again. But too many never make it that far. They fear silence because in silence there is no one left to blame, no one left to impress, no crowd to cheer, only you and your choices. And that is where the war begins. Because if you cannot sit in silence with your own soul, you will forever chase noise to fill the emptiness. But if you can, if you dare to, sit in the stillness and listen, you'll find a power no voice can give you, and no failure can take from you. You'll begin to walk differently, not faster, but stronger. You'll speak less, but when you do, it will land. Because silence trains your words to carry weight. The world remembers those who move in silence and arrive with impact, not those who bark every step along the way. Think of Walt Disney, laughed at, mocked, bankrupted, fired for lacking imagination. He didn't argue with critics. He created. He let his silence speak for him, brick by brick, frame by frame, dream by dream. And when the world finally saw what he had built, it was too late to deny it. That is the secret. The real ones build in silence. And by the time the world sees it, it is already undeniable. But none of it comes without belief. And belief is not a chant. It is not a slogan. It is a decision you make daily, often alone, often in silence, when no one is watching, and everything inside you wants to quit. When your progress is invisible, when your efforts feel wasted, when your faith is bruised, and yet you continue, because you understand, the tree grows underground before it ever touches the sky. The tree grows underground before it ever touches the sky, and so must you. You must master the root before you ever think of bearing fruit, and that root, your foundation, is clarity, not just the clarity of where you want to go, but the clarity of who you are when no one is watching, what you believe when the applause stops, what you stand for when the spotlight fades, what drives you when there is no deadline, no audience, and no recognition. Because clarity is not about having answers. It is about asking the right questions. And those questions only rise when you have the silence to listen. What do I really want? What am I willing to suffer for? Who am I becoming through my actions, not my intentions? Without that clarity, you will chase shadows, jobs you hate, people who drain you, goals that were never yours to begin with. But with it, with clarity that has been forged in the silence, your path becomes unmistakable, and that is when vision is born. Vision is not a dream. It is not a wish. It is a decision backed by belief, lit by fire, and anchored in discipline. Walt Disney saw an entire kingdom in a swamp. Tesla saw light and energy where others saw impossibility. Oprah saw worth in her voice when the world only saw her skin and gender. And none of them were loud at first. They were dismissed, ignored, silenced, but their silence was not surrender, was a strategy, because vision doesn't need validation. It only needs commitment. You must protect your vision like a flame in the wind. People will try to blow it out, not always with cruelty, but with carelessness. They will project their limits onto you. They will fear your ambition, because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. They will label your stillness as laziness, your solitude as arrogance, your focus as obsession. Let them talk. Let them underestimate you, distract themselves with noise, and chase applause. You stay with your vision, because vision without discipline is hallucination, and dreams without action are just noise in your own head. This is where the silent succeed. They are not swayed by the moods of the moment. They are not seduced by short-term pleasure. They are too busy becoming what they were born to be. Think of Kobe Bryant at the gym before sunrise. Think of Elon Musk sleeping in factories while others bought yachts. Think of J.K. Rowling rejected by 12 publishers, writing on napkins, still showing up. Discipline isn't loud. It's consistent. It's boring. It's sacred. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. It's working when inspiration is gone. It's repeating the fundamentals when your ego wants to skip steps. And it is only born in silence, because silence strips away the excuses. Silence reveals the truth. Your life is a reflection of what you've repeated day in, day out. You cannot fake discipline. You either live it or you don't. But when you do, when your days become aligned with your vision, you begin to embody a power that doesn't need to shout. You become the message. Your walk changes. Your focus sharpens. Your presence speaks before your mouth ever opens. Because now, you are no longer reacting. You are creating. And creation comes not from chaos, but from a still mind, a clear vision, and a relentless discipline. This is the rare air where few dare to breathe. It is not crowded here, because most people are too busy performing. They perform for approval. They perform for likes. They perform for people who won't even remember their names in 5 years. But the real ones, the builders, the architects of legacy, they do not perform. They prepare. They prepare in silence. They grow in the dark, and they strike when ready, not when asked. Because success does not come to the loud. It comes to the ready, and readiness is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. It is crafted in the small decisions no one sees. It is forged in the early mornings and late nights. It is earned in the moments where quitting would be easier, but finishing is chosen. And here lies the final truth. Discipline leads to power, and power, when grounded in silence, becomes immovable. You no longer need the world to believe in you, because you believe in yourself. You no longer chase attention, because attention chases excellence. You no longer look for motivation, because you've built a system of action, and now you are unstoppable. Not because you are the loudest, but because you are anchored. Your silence is no longer misunderstood. It is respected, because in a world full of noise, you are the storm that moves without warning. And by the time they hear you coming, it's already too late. By the time they hear you coming, it's already too late, because you didn't chase the spotlight. You became it, not with noise, but with resilience. See, the ones who last are not the ones who shine the brightest at the beginning. They are the ones who refuse to break when life tests the very bones of their belief. Resilience is not a gift. It's a decision. It's the voice inside you that says, not today, when everything around you says, give up. It's the fire that reignites every time you get knocked down hotter, harder, and more determined. Think of Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison. They tried to silence him, break him, erase him. But he used that silence to listen, to learn, to plan. And when he walked out of that prison, he was not a broken man. He was a leader forged in silence. That's what most don't understand. The silence you fear may be the place your strength is hiding. Because in the noise, we mask our wounds. But in the silence, we heal them. And healing isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it looks like crawling. Sometimes it feels like nothing is working. But every time you keep going, you grow something inside you that the world cannot take. Adaptability is born here. Not in comfort, not in predictability, but in chaos. It is in the pivot. In the moments you thought the road would go left-hand, it broke apart beneath you. That's when your character is revealed. Not when everything goes to plan, but when nothing. Doesn't you create new plans anyway? Henry Ford lost everything multiple times. Factories burned, banks pulled back, but he adapted. He kept the vision and rewrote the method. And because of that, the name Ford outlived them all. You must be like water flowing, changing, never still, yet always true to its essence. Bend, don't break. Flex, but never fold. The rigid collapse, but the adaptable endure. This is not about who gets the fastest success. It's about who learns fast, adapts faster, and never abandons their standard. Because life will not ask if you're ready. It will test you anyway. And the only way to win is to keep learning. Learning isn't reading quotes. It's not watching others succeed and clapping for them while staying small. It's studying yourself like a science. What habits keep you stuck? What patterns betray your progress? What beliefs are no longer serving the person you're becoming? The greats are always students. Einstein was still learning until his final breath. Da Vinci died with questions still scribbled in his journals. And Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, kept a personal journal of humility, reminding himself daily to be better, not louder, not richer, better. So, what are you learning? If you are not actively feeding your mind, it is being programmed by the world, and the world does not care about your greatness. The world will give you mediocrity, wrapped in comfort, distraction, and noise. You must choose the opposite. You must seek silence to hear yourself. You must seek discomfort to grow. You must seek wisdom, not validation. And the moment you do, the moment you stop performing and start becoming, the moment you choose mastery over mimicry, that is when your silence becomes your roar. Because silence is not absence. It is alignment. You are aligning your actions with your purpose. You are aligning your vision with your execution. You are aligning your inner world so strongly that the outer world has no choice but to respond. And now, you no longer need to speak loudly. Your life will speak for you. Your results will echo where your words never reached. Your energy will arrive before you do. Your story will be told in how you move through storms, not how you talk about them. Because this is what it means to walk in truth. You no longer need to convince anyone. You are the evidence. And the world listens differently to the one who never needed applause. So let them wonder, let them doubt, let them talk. You will be too focused, too anchored, too on purpose to answer. Because you've found something greater than noise. You've found your stillness. You've found your voice in silence. And in that voice lives fire. The kind of fire that doesn't burn out. Because it doesn't come from applause. It comes from within. So walk forward now. Not with noise, not with fear, but with certainty. Let your silence build your foundation. Let your discipline carve your destiny. Let your actions thunder where your words never needed to. And when they finally see what you've built, they'll ask how you did it. You'll just smile, because they'll never understand the truth about success and silence. They'll never understand the truth about success and silence, because they only saw the bloom, never the buried seed. They only saw the crown, never the climb. They only saw the fire, never the flint, the spark, the long nights of cold. They saw the result, but they never heard the process, because the process made no sound. It was forged in the unseen hours, in the battle between who you were and who you chose to become. And every time you stayed in the fight, every time you held the line, in silence, you carved your future with hands no one else could see. This world glorifies the loud. It praises the performer. But it's the silent one who leaves the legacy. Because when the noise fades, when the crowds move on, when trends die, what remains? Character, conviction, craft, clarity. These do not live in noise. They live in you. And now, you know where to find them. You know that you don't need to scream to be strong. You don't need to be seen to be sovereign. You don't need to be validated to be valuable. You've been walking with the quiet strength of those who are destined. You've been moving in silence, not because you are unsure, but because you are undeniable. This is what it means to live with depth, to live with weight, to walk in a room and not say a word, but shift the atmosphere. Because success, real success, is not about being noticed, it's about being remembered. And the ones we remember are not always the loudest. They are the ones who stood still when the world shook, the ones who didn't flinch when the storm came, the ones who kept building, brick by brick, when no one clapped. So let this be your vow, to never chase noise again. Let others go viral. Let others beg for attention. You build empires while they build illusions. Because silence, when paired with vision, is not weakness, it is strategy. It is power. It is a weapon in the hands of the disciplined. And now, you are dangerous, because you've discovered how to master both. The external world will never make you, because your roots run deeper. And when the droughts come and you will not wither. You will rise, not suddenly, not loudly, but steadily, silently, unstoppably. Because this is the truth about success and silence. The most powerful storms do not announce themselves. They just arrive and change everything. And so will you?